Welcome to Explicit Expression, where it's facts over feelings. My name is Adam, and I'm going to tell you how it is, and I don't care how you feel about it. Let's go.
Voice is so fucking annoying, bro. I don't know how people can just listen to it talk. Swear to God,
Good
that
to
shit
be back
is.
in North Carolina. Oh, it's good to see you. Thank you. Oh, it's good to see everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Please have a seat if you have Roy Cooper. What number is it, Roy? And today he shouted 16, which is the number of times I've been in this beautiful state since I've been vice president.
I think that's more time than she's been to the border. She's been in North Carolina more times than she's been to the border.
Governor, Attorney General,
literally her job.
1, ours, focused on the future, and the other, focused on the past. We see that contrasts clearly in many ways, including when it comes to how we think about the economy. So our country has come a long way since President Biden and I took office. At that time, we sadly remember the millions of Americans that were out of work.
Did she say they come a long way? They fucked up shit since they've been in office. Prices is high on everything. Food, gas, housing, anything you can fucking think about that costs money is high as hell. So is that what they're talking? Is that what she's talking about? Yeah, I've done a lot. I fucked up a lot of shit.
We were facing one of the worst economic crises in modern history. And today, by virtually...
So, one hand they say Trump can't say the economy got fucked up because of the pandemic, but then on the other hand, they can say, oh, we couldn't really do nothing because of the pandemic, or the economy was bad because of the pandemic. So which one is it? Are you able to use the pandemic, or are you not able to use it? I guess only if you're a Democrat.
Every measure, our economy is the strongest in the world.
That's a lie. That's a lie. I don't see it.
We have created 16 million new jobs. We've made historic investments in infrastructure, in chips manufacturing, in clean energy. And new numbers this week alone show that inflation is down under 3%.
Where?
And as President of the United States, it will be my intention...
Well, don't get fooled, right? So, that doesn't mean that inflation is low or is where it's supposed to be. It's down under 3%, meaning that if it was 23%, now it's 20%. Or if it was 13%, now it's 10%. Okay, it went down. It's still fucking high as fuck.
To build on the foundation of this progress. Still, we know that many Americans don't yet feel that progress in their daily lives. Costs are still too high. And on a deeper level, for too many people...
It's not too high. It actually went up. Let's get that straight. Cost is not still too high. Costs went up under you and Biden. Let's get that straight.
No matter how much they work, it feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. As president, I will be laser focused on creating opportunities for the middle class that advance their economic security,
I'm gonna let him talk.
Stability, and dignity. Together, we will build what I call an opportunity economy.
What the fuck? everybody has an opportunity. What the fuck? Everybody has an opportunity now in this economy and the economy before that and the one before that and the one that's going to come after you guys. Don't fall for the tricky words, people. You always have an opportunity in whatever economy it is, whoever is running the economy, everybody has an opportunity. So she can't create a opportunity economy. You already have that. That doesn't make no sense. What the hell is? What are you gonna do to create an opportunity economy? Everybody already have an opportunity in this economy and the one before that, and the one after you guys.
An opportunity economy.
You gotta have common sense, and you gotta be able to think when these people are saying dumb shit like this. Creating an opportunity economy. Jesus Christ.
An economy where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed.
We already do that.
Everyone, regardless of who they are or where they start, has.
We already do that. We already compete. Everybody already competes. Some people go to school so they can get a higher education, so they can get a better job, right, and earn more money. Some people go learn trades to earn more money. Some people invent. Some people create. Some people do all kinds of shit. So it don't matter. We already have that. So you're not creating that. That already exists.
As an opportunity to build wealth for themselves and their children. And
that's a false hope. There's a fine night, a small percent chance of a person becoming wealthy or filthy rich or just building a generational wealth. It's very small. Not everybody's going to get that chance to do that. Now, some people can become rich. Some people can earn a lot of money. And then you can pass that down. And hopefully your generation after that can build on that, right? But not everybody is going to be able to create that. So that's another lie.
Where we remove the barriers to opportunity. So anyone who wants to...
There's no barrier for opportunity. Opportunity is not something that has a barrier on it. That's already available. Even in the most unhealthy country or the countries that don't have anything, right? There's still opportunities there. It might not be the same amount of opportunity that you have here in America or in England or anywhere else, but there's still opportunity there. So her saying she's gonna create a economy of opportunity that already exists in life. It don't matter where you are, so you can't create that.
Start a business or advance their career can access
the
tools and the resources that are necessary to do so.
We can already do that. And Trump actually helped with that when he removed all those extra steps, the extra barriers that the Democrats put in place, right? You know how when you're trying to go get like a certificate or something, you got to do all these extra things, jump all these extra hoops just to go get that one thing that you need? Trump passed a policy for that removed those things, and it made it easier for small businesses to go start their businesses. That already existed. Trump already made that easier. So what is she talking about?
I will focus on cutting needless bureaucracy and unnecessary regulatory red tape and encouraging innovative technologies while protecting consumers and creating a stable business environment with consistent and transparent rules of the road.
What?
As president, I will bring together labor with small businesses and major companies to invest in America, to create good jobs, achieve broad-based growth, and ensure that America continues to define the future and lead the world.
We already do that. America already does that.
And key to creating this opportunity economy is building up our middle class.
If you listen to every Democratic president that runs for presidency, Democratic candidate that runs for presidency, this is their main talking point: building the middle class. Every single one of them wants to build the middle class, but for some reason, every fucking Democratic president that ever been in office, for some reason, they never built that middle class, but they keep on trying, right? That's the key word. They're going to keep trying to build that middle class, and they're going to keep telling you how they're going to want to build that middle class every time they run for president. It ain't going to happen, though, but they're going to keep trying to do it, all right? You just keep voting for us, and you know what? We're gonna build that middle class.
It is essential.
Yeah, it's very essential. Yeah,
the middle class is one of America's greatest strengths.
Oh, of course it is.
And to protect it then.
And that's false. That's false. Middle class is trying to get up there. It's not. The most important class of people are the people who are already up there. You know why? Because they can create thousands of jobs immediately. Middle class people, most of us, just trying to earn enough to build later. That means we don't have the money to hire more than 5 or 10 employees, right? Those people that is already up there, they're the most important people in society because they can build now. Middle class people can't. So that's false.
We must defend basic principles,
What are they,
such
Kamala?
as your salary should be enough to provide you and your family with a good quality of life.
And let me tell you something about that. That's another common sense. If you have a company, and what they're talking about is probably increasing the minimum wage. That's such a bad fucking idea, bro. I don't know if you guys remember how we used to go to Walmart and you would see people, these old people at the doors, greeting people, making a little bit of money. Do y'all see them anymore? And that was because of that minimum wage increase. Why the fuck would a company like Walmart pay all these old people all this money to just sit there and greet somebody if they can pay somebody to do 2 times the job? So they cut all that. And the reason why they cut it is because now all that money that they cut, they can take that money and pay John, Jose, or Luis, or Samantha. That increase that the salary got increased to, the minimum wage got increased to, they can take that from them and pay these people now to do double the job. Or matter of fact, ignore that position, get rid of that position altogether. No more greetings at the door, right? And then on top of that, they'll cut down the staffs and put more fucking self-checkouts in the Walmarts now. So they cut their staff in half so they can afford that minimum wage increase. These companies are not dumb. These people didn't build these billion-dollar companies because they were dumb. That's not how that works. So y'all can listen to these fools and think, oh, just because their minimum wage is now $25 an hour, you finna be great. No, they probably gonna cut your hours too. You're gonna work less hours, and they're gonna ask you to do double the amount of work. And if you don't do it, they'll find somebody else who can. And the president ain't gonna come to Walmart warehouse and tell them, oh, give these people more hours. They can't do that. They can't come to Walmart warehouse and say, oh, hire John or Peter. No, they can't do that. But what they're gonna do is sell you a dream. Right? So y'all gotta think when y'all listen to these people. It sounds sweet until you start getting cavities and you have to pull your teeth out.
Such as no child should have to grow up in poverty.
Again, you can't control that. Not everybody have the ability or willpower or motivation to go get money, to go get paid, to live help good. How you gonna do? What you gonna do? You just start dashing out money to people, putting everybody in a big house, a nice neighborhood? It doesn't work like that. So yes, I know it sounds bad, but some people are gonna be poor. Some people are gonna be rich. Some people are gonna be middle class. That's just how the world works. You can't regulate everything. That's not how that works. You gotta get up and go work and go get it. Now, if you get a little bit of assistance from the government to push you up a little bit, cool, that's fine. But this handout shit that they talking about, how are you gonna get everybody out of poverty? How are you gonna make sure that every child does not experience poverty? There's no way you can do that. There's no way you can do that. It's not possible. Y'all need to stop listening to these people.
Such as, after years of hard work, you should be able to retire with dignity.
Again, what's the definition of hard work? And are you being smart with your money? Right? And retiring, when you say retiring with dignity, what the hell does that even mean? Nobody asks these people to explain anything. They just say what the fuck they want to say, leave it like that, and people cheer, and that's it. What do you mean retire with dignity? The government is the one who makes the tax laws, right? The government who is the one who's the federal government is the one that taxes everybody. So what does that even mean? You're going to stop taxing people? Then how are they going to make money to grow the economy? Build roads, right? When disaster and stuff happen, where the money's gonna come from to help these people in areas of these disasters? So they have to tax us now. Is the tax too high in certain places on certain people? Yes, that's what you should be focused on: how to tax people the right way. So I don't understand. What do you mean retiring dignity? And then that comes down to the person. What job are you working at? How much money are you putting in your 401k? Right? And that inflation doesn't help either, because that just fucks up everything, even if you're saving a lot of money. Right? And then what you're actually doing with your money. Are you investing it? Are you trying to build a business? What are you doing with your money? That's the question. So you're telling me somebody can work at McDonald's, work hard for their whole life. McDonald's doesn't pay enough. They don't give enough hours. You work there for your whole life. You think you're going to be able to retire with dignity and live comfortable after you retire? No, because you didn't make enough money to retire. And you probably didn't invest your money or put it somewhere where it can actually grow for you to retire. And then on top of that, the government is taxing you when you're taking that retirement money out. So her saying that is just stupid. Everybody don't just get to retire with dignity. Smart people who do smart things with their money retires with dignity.
And you should be able to join a union if you choose, building up the middle.
People already choose to join unions. You can do that now, depending on who you're working for. I mean, the company and stuff like that, and what the union is doing. But most of the unions, all they care about is making their own money, because you got to pay them to join them. So how would you pay somebody to come fight for you to get you more money? But the more money you're making, the more they're charging you. And why don't you go work with the company itself to establish something to help the employees, instead of creating another company that takes more of your money to fight for you to make money? Does that make any sense? And I know the unions help in certain things, benefits and all. Yeah, but you're fighting for me to make more money to pay you more money. I'd rather go talk to my company directly. It's common sense, people.
Middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
Always
Because
is for
I
every
strongly
Democratic
believe
presidential candidate.
when the middle class is strong, America is strong. So in the weeks to come, I will address in greater detail my plans to build an opportunity economy. And today, I will focus on one element that's on the minds of many Americans as they pay their bills at the kitchen table or walk the aisles of a grocery store. And that is lowering the cost of living. So every day across our...
It's a free market. That's what America believes in, a free market. Right? That means I can build a house on 4th Street. John can build a house on 5th Street. If my house looks better, has a lot of things built into it, amenities, a lot of stuff, I can charge more. It's up to Samantha, and Jose to come pay what I'm asking for. If they don't like it, they can go to the other house next door and go pay for that. It might have less, it might have more. But if it's cheaper, they can go do that. Unless they care about the things that I'm offering in my house and they feel like they can afford that, they'll pay that. But also on the other hand, remember, it's a free market. So if there's 2 other houses down the street that have similar to what I have and they're cheaper, over the year, I noticed that nobody's renting my house and nobody wants to buy my house. The market is going to dictate how I price that house. Number one, I'm paying taxes on that house for the land, for the house, right? Property taxes. Number two, I got to pay to keep that house upkeep, the condition, everything, right? So that's costing me money. So the longer that house sits there, the more money I'm spending, the more I'm losing. So now as a business person, I got to make a decision. Do I want to keep that house over there for high as it is, higher than everybody else's houses in the neighborhood? Or do I want to lower the price where people can actually come rent it and I can start making money off it? Even maybe in the first 2 or 3 years, I won't make any profit, but I will start recouping what I spent to build a house to upkeep it. After a certain amount of years, after I recouped all the money that I spent, now I can start making profit. But if I keep that house higher than everybody else's house in their neighborhood, I might lose more money over time. And it'll take me even longer to recoup my money and profit than it is those other people in their neighborhood. So the market and the buyers dictate that. But if somebody's buying my house and I'm building another one, they buy it, I build another one, they buy, I build another one, they buy it, or they renting it. Now those people in the neighborhood with those other houses, they're losing money because nobody wants their cheap house. Nobody wants their cheap house with none of the stuff that I have in my house. So they have an option to make now. They have an option too. They can upgrade those houses and make them more attractive and increase the rent so people can come rent it, or they can leave it at that price and lose money. So it's a free market. The buyers in the market dictates the prices on the goods. Remember that.
Nation, families talk about their plans for the future.
Everybody do that. You can plan every day.
Their
Tomorrow can
aspirations
fuck that up though.
for themselves, for their children. And they talk about how they're going to be able to actually achieve them financially. Because look, the bills add up.
Hard work.
Food,
Take advantage
rent,
of every
gas,
opportunity that
back
you
to
get.
school clothes, prescription
And use it
medication.
to get where you need to get.
After all that, for many families, there's not much left at the end of the month.
People don't live within their means.
I grew up in a middle-class household.
people don't live within their means, and I'm one of those people. Sometimes we buy shit that we don't need. Sometimes we do things that we don't need to be doing at the time, right? But that's human behavior. That's how everybody is. Not everybody just sits there nitpicking and calculating everything that they're buying and doing. It happens, but you don't let it get out of hand, right? And that's how you control that. That's just life.
For most of my childhood, we were renters. My mother saved for well over a decade to buy a home. I was a teenager when that day finally came, and I can remember so well how excited she was. I kind of understood what it meant, but we called her Mommy. Mommy was so excited, it just made us excited that she was so excited.
Everybody called her Mommy, right?
Later in college, I worked at McDonald's to earn spending money. Well, some of the people I worked with were raising families on that paycheck. They worked second or even third jobs to pay rent and buy food.
That's happening
that
now.
Only gets harder
in
when the
economy.
Cost of living goes up.
And you're in Joe Biden's economy.
When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans. As president, I will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans, like the cost of food. We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed. But our supply chains have now improved, and prices are still too high.
Because of inflation.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%. Many of the big food companies are seeing their highest profits in 2 decades. And while many grocery chains pass along these savings, others still aren't. Look, I know most businesses are creating jobs, contributing to our economy, and playing by the rules. But some are not. And that's just not right. And we need to take action when that is the case.
So now they want to control what the stores do. They want to control how much stores price their foods and other things. I get it. Shit are high, right? But I don't think she understands. I don't think she understands how this shit works. And I don't know too much about it either because that's not my field. But I know enough. If you start regulating how these people can charge for their goods, and I just explained a few minutes ago how free market works. If you start regulating how much these people can charge for their food, the amount of food that they put in a certain package goes down. If you tell me I can only charge this much for this thing, that thing gets smaller, but I'm still going to charge what you want me to charge, but that thing gets smaller. So it offsets itself. Again, these businesses did not get what they got. They didn't get where they at by being dumb. Okay? And what she's not talking about is one of the main reasons why some of these prices are so high. Number one, because of the pandemic. Number two, inflation. Number three, right? The minimum wage went up. Companies got to make profit. Right? So now they got to pay employees more. The money got to come from somewhere. Guess what the money is going to come from? It's going to come from us. So the same people who they're paying all this money to now, they're doubling their cost on their goods. So it offsets itself. We're making more money, but we're spending more. So it even back out. I don't care how much they raise that minimum wage to. It's going to even itself out because of how much we're spending now on products. It's fucking common sense. Somebody has to make profit. So now they're saying they're going to regulate how much they can charge, right? So now we're gonna get less food, but we're gonna still pay more. It's not adding up. And then over time, the more control you're giving these people, they're gonna regulate everything. They talk about democracy, but they want to regulate everything. Next thing you know, the government is going to control everything that you do. How much you spend, how long you're on your phone, how long you're on a computer, how much TV you watch, all this shit. How far you can drive, right? Because they want to save the environment. The earth been here before we were here. You think if the dinosaur could have stopped that asteroid from coming and hitting the earth and fucking everything up for them, you think they wouldn't have done it? That's just how nature works. Shit happens, right? We might be putting a little CO2 gas in the air. All that shit balances itself out. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Y'all can't regulate and control everything. That's how you get shit fucked up. Be careful. Y'all have to listen to these people and really understand what they're trying to say and what they're leading to. They use a lot of hype word and emotional things to try to get you to vote for them. But understand what they're really trying to do. Listen.
As Attorney General in California, I went after companies that illegally increased prices.
That's not the only people she went after. She went after a lot of black people for smoking weed. She locked up a lot of black people. I don't understand all this black power shit, but they vote for the same people who created the black problems. Joe Biden. I can't believe they voted this nigga into office after all these years. All these policies these niggas push to lock up people, to lock up black people, colored people, Hispanic people. All these years. All this shit this nigga did. All the things he said. But they get mad when Trump says shithole countries or he calls somebody fat or whatever. Are they fat? Yes. Is the country fucked up? Yes. All these years, this nigga Joe Biden has tried so hard and succeeded in most cases to lock people up. Colored people, black people, brown people, Hispanic people. If you're not white, he didn't give a fuck. He was on the road. He was going. He was going to lock everybody up. He didn't want black kids going to white schools. He thought black kids was dumber than white kids. He said it. It came out of his own mouth. Those are shit I can pull up and play for you guys. That's the Democratic Party. So they create all these problems. They cause all these problems. And then they turn around and say, oh, we're trying to fix it. Or we fixed a little bit of it. You can't create the problem and then fix it. And then cheer yourself on or want people to cheer for you because you fixed the problem that you created. You don't get no kudos for that. So that's why I don't understand. Black people every day, they shouting black power, you know, throwing the fist and doing all this shit. But then they turn around and vote for the exact people that created a problem. It's just now they're creating more problem with different names and masking it and using your emotion against you.
Including wholesalers that inflated the price of prescription medication, and companies that conspired with competitors to keep.
And that's another lie because the drug companies are the one investing in them, paying them, donating to them for all this. So and they haven't, they never will. They're not gonna do nothing to these people. What they do, they create Obamacare. Instead of going after the drug companies, they created Obamacare. And I did a video on that. That shit's so fucked up now. Double the prices on shit. Forcing people to get it. If you can't get it or you don't get it, you get penalized for it when you file taxes. Yeah, it happened. But that shit that they don't talk about. They don't go after the drug companies. They create a problem on top of a problem and say, "Oh, we have a solution," and make it sound sweet.
Prices of electronics high. I won more than $1 billion for consumers. So believe me, as president, I will go after the bad actors.
She ain't going after shit. She ain't going after shit.
And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food.
Yeah. Federal ban price gauging on food.
My plan will include new penalties for opportunistic companies that exploit crises and break the rules. And
okay, let's say they do create some laws and rules, to make these companies lower these prices on things. Number one, the amount of stuff that's gonna be, let's say, in a chip bag or an amount of soda that's gonna be in a bottle, you're gonna see it's gonna start getting less and less. Right? Because the federal government says we can't charge over a certain amount. So we gotta do the math on that. It's still gonna even out. And then not only that, they're gonna have less employees. Because the profit gotta come from somewhere. And that's not how you attack that problem. The problem is somewhere else. The problem is inflation. The problem is people not in school. The problem is people thinking that they have to go to these colleges for all these years, get all this debt, and go learn something they have no business learning, and they're not being able to afford to take care of themselves and their family. That's the problem. The problem is not trying to get these companies to lower their prices on their merchandises. Trust me, they ain't get where they at because they're dumb. These companies did not become a $1 billion company because they're dumb.
we will support smaller food businesses that are trying to play by the rules and get ahead.
How you gonna support them? You gonna take tax dollars and give it to them? I mean, how else are you gonna go print money and bring the value of the dollar down even more? They're not gonna go print money. They're gonna take tax dollars and then tax us more. How are you gonna get that done?
We will help the food industry become more competitive because I believe
It's already
competition
competitive.
is the lifeblood of our economy.
It's
More
already competitive. Next to every Walmart, there's a Target. You go right down the street, there's a Berkshire Brothers. You keep going down the street, there's a Berkshire's. You keep going, there's a H-E-B. Every gas station on every block has 2 other gas stations next to it. It's already competition. That's not the problem. Competition is good. It's already there. What did I just explain about the houses?
Competition means lower prices for you and your families.
We already know that. There's already competition. That's not the problem.
Now compare what Donald Trump plans to do. He wants to impose what is, in effect, a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities that we import from other countries. That will devastate Americans.
That's not what he said.
It will mean higher prices on just about everyone.
That's not what he said. He said if you're making your stuff out of the country and trying to import it into the country, he's going to tax you more because he wants those things to be created here. Because if you're creating somewhere else, you're giving a job to that country. And the reason why they do it is because shit is cheaper over there to make. So you can't blame them. So it's the infrastructure here, it's the ability to make those things here at that price available for people to do. Because if it's not, if these companies are gonna make these things here, oh my God, it's common sense, bro. They're gonna charge more. The more it costs for them to make it, the more they're gonna charge because they have to make a profit. Or they can spend less to make it, right? They still want to make a profit, but they can charge less. But guess what? The quality of these things now are shit. And that's what it comes down to. It's the infrastructure and the things that these big companies need here for them to make these things at the same price or lower.
One of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas. A Trump tax on food. A Trump tax on clothing. A Trump tax on over-the-counter medication. And you know, economists have done the math. Donald Trump's plan would cost a typical family $3,900 a year.
Don't let this lady fool you guys. Trump's been president before. None of that was true. When Trump was president, bro, gas was low. I'm just telling you from experience. And if you're old enough, you should know this already. This is not bad. This is not a new thing. We know this already. Most of us was paying less for gas. We were spending less on food. Shit was good. We had extra money to do shit. So, this nigga's not saying he's about to change everything that he was doing. It was working. He's going to add more things to it. But what she's saying is absolutely false.
At this moment, when everyday prices are too high, he will make them even higher.
That's a lie.
As president, I'll take on the issue of the cost of health care. As Attorney General, I took on insurance companies and Big Pharma and got them to lower their prices.
No, she didn't.
And together with President Biden, we've gone even further. We capped the price of insulin at $35 a month, and the total cost...
I don't know too much about that, but I can
and
look
the
it up.
total cost of prescription drugs at $2,000 a year for seniors. We let Medicare negotiate lower drug prices for seniors. And just yesterday, we announced that we are lowering the price by up to 80% for 10 more life-saving drugs.
See, that's what companies do on Black Friday. There's all these special sales that they having. The price is already fucking high, right? So then you're giving 80% discount or 90% discount doesn't really change anything because the price is already fucking high.
And I pledge to continue this progress. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone with your support, not only our seniors. And demand transparency from the middlemen who operate between Big Pharma and the insurance companies who use opaque practices to raise your drug prices and profit off your need for medicine. 2 months ago, I announced that medical debt will no longer be used against your credit score.
She said she announced. What that means? Was there a law passed? She announced. I mean, she said something. She was on stage. She gave a speech or something, right? She announced. What does that mean?
And I will work as president with states like here in North Carolina, Roy Cooper, thank you again, to cancel medical debt for more and more, millions more.
You can't cancel medical debt. You just don't cancel things. You know what happens when you don't pay for stuff that you owe, that you borrow, or when a government, this motherfucker here thinks she can just cancel things? They don't just cancel. Somebody has to pay it. These companies get their money. Somebody has to pay it. And guess who's paying? Everybody else who lives in America that's paying taxes. They pay it. We pay it. So they're not just canceling shit. So people just go out and just get all these medical debt. Right? It's not just vanishing into thin air. No, somebody's paying it. We're paying it. Y'all need to look these things up and do y'all research. Shit just don't disappear. And this is how inflation happens. When they try to do all this extra shit instead of going to the root cause of the problem and fixing it there. You don't just cancel debt. You don't just pay everybody's student loan and get rid of it. No, these companies need their money. They have to get paid. And that's why we have the branches of government and all these rules and laws and the Supreme Court. And all. So people like this don't just do whatever the fuck they want to do. Because if I work hard to build a company and I'm loaning money out to people and some of them decide they don't want to pay me back, right? Can I just go out and take shit from them or do something for them because they don't want to pay me back? No, there's laws, there's rules. I can't just do that. So then I take them to court to get my money back. There's laws and rules. Same thing with governments. There's regulations, there's laws, there's rules that they have to follow. They can't just get rid of shit. They can't just get rid of your debt and just vanish out of thin air. No. Taxpayers have to pay that. And that's why people's taxes are so high. Because the fucking Democrats think they can just get rid of shit. And when I think either Biden or Obama was talking about getting rid of student debt and all this, trust me, I was fucking excited because I have student debts. But I didn't know about these. I didn't know that it just doesn't vanish. I didn't know. I mean, do I still want them to get rid of my shit? Yes. Yes, I do. Right? Because I don't want to owe anybody money. But you got to understand, I'm going to have to deal with the consequences of that too. Because when inflation happens and I get taxed more, it's because they're getting rid of my student loan. They're getting rid of my neighbor's student loans. They're getting rid of that neighbor's student loan. People are running to the street student loans. Their Medicare debt. That's what's going on. So we all feel it. Now let me tell you something about rich people. They have so much money, even though they cry if they lose some money, right? Because they work hard to get that fucking money. But it doesn't really affect them. A nigga with $1 billion lose 10 grand or 20K. Yeah, he gonna be mad. That's 20K. But it doesn't really affect them like that, like the way it will affect somebody who's only making, let's say $30,000 a year, and they lose 5 or 10 grand. Now you're down to 20 or 25K a year. So the impact is different.
Americans.
So don't listen to these people just saying, oh, we're gonna get rid of shit. That's not how shit works. Somebody has to pay for it.
As for Donald Trump, well, he wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act.
Yes, I do. I agree with it.
45 million Americans rely on, 45 million Americans
Yeah, but how many people did it hurt? And I don't know how true is that, but how many people did it hurt?
To a time.
See, that's the type of shit I don't agree with. We always do shit because of the majority, not the minority. You don't go into a classroom where only you have 30 kids, only 3 of them or 5 of them know how to do fraction, and you just start giving them fraction tests. No. You have to teach the whole class how to do fraction now before they can take the test. So we make rules and laws based on majority of things, not the minority. You can make tweaks and exceptions so the minority can catch up, but you don't base the rule of the entirety of the rule for the class or the economy or the world based on the minority. That's not how that works. That never works.
When insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. We all remember what that was.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying some of the things in there are not good, like what she said are not pre-existing conditions, right? But hey, you have to take care of yourself, though. I think, yes, they should accept them, but then your premium should be higher. Because we have to take care of ourselves. Yes, shit happens, right? You catch things that you don't know about or that you didn't cause to yourself. Our body works in mysterious ways, right? But then that's why I was just talking about the exception. If something like that happened and the doctor can figure out that, oh, okay, this just happened because it just happened, it was spontaneous, it wasn't something that you were doing to cause that to happen to you, that would be notated in your medical records. And when you go get insurance, they can look at your medical records and see, that should be one of the exceptions. Those are how rules should be made. Those are how laws and policies should be made. Not just being broad and just making shit up as you go. It's crazy.
And we're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. And remember, and this is why we're not going back, because we do remember, he tried to cut Medicare every year he was president, threatening a program that tens of millions of seniors count on. And according to his Project 2025 agenda, he intends to undo our work to bring down prescription drugs, the cost of prescription drugs, and insulin costs. Well, we've come too far to let that happen.
I don't see where we at, because shit's still fucked up.
So we're not going back on that, and let's talk about the cost of housing. So now, the housing market can be complicated, but look, I'm not new to this issue. As State Attorney General, I drafted and helped pass a homeowner Bill of Rights, one of the first in America. And during the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big banks for predatory lending with many of my colleagues, including Roy Cooper, and won $20 billion for California families when I was Attorney General. So I know how to fight for people who are being exploited in the housing market. And I know...
Maybe she should come to Texas and learn something from there. Because the last time I checked, shit is expensive in California and New York. So, what did she fix over there? I don't see no difference. Yeah, I don't see no difference, so I don't know.
What home ownership means, it's more than a financial transaction. It's so much more than that. It's more than a house. home ownership and what that means, it's a symbol of the pride that comes with hard work. It's financial security. It represents what you will be able to do for your children.
Because most of the time the kids gonna move out that house.
And sadly, right now, it is
state.
out of reach for far too many American families.
Didn't they cause the
There's
housing
a
market
serious
crash?
housing shortage. In many places, it's too difficult to build, and it's driving prices up.
That's not what's driving
As
prices
president,
up.
I will work in partnership with industry to build the housing we need, both to rent and to buy. We will take down barriers and cut red tape.
So she's talking about building government housing. They already have that. They already have government housing. So what they do is they have companies build specific places for people with low income to live, and then the government pays 75, sometimes 80% of the rent, and all they pay is maybe $10 or $20, right? A lot of people already live in these kind of places. And let me tell you something. I've been around these kind of places. I talked to some people in these places. Not all of them, but most of them are lazy as fuck. Most of them take that extra money that they have and go spend it on bullshit. Nothing changes. They already doing this thing. So this is not something new that she's talking about. This is something that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party has already been doing for years. It's not new. They're not about to go build houses and put people in it. That's not what she's talking about. I guarantee you, what they're already doing is what they're going to keep doing. It's paying companies more tax dollars to build places, or places that's already built, to lower the rent because the government's going to pay part of it. And then people can live there with low income and pay a small portion. That's all that is. I guarantee you.
Including at the state and local levels.
And most of these places end up being...
And by the end of my first term,
the hood.
we will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rent.
And let me tell you something. They actually already did this before, when they were paying black women to be single with kids and kick their baby fathers out the house so the government can give them money. They've done this before. We've seen an example of this before. It's just now they're calling it something else and trying to hide it and disguise it as something else. That's all they're doing. We've seen this before. It's not new. Don't fall for this shit.
For the middle class.
There's nothing free in the world. Nothing. Nobody will ever give you anything free.
And we will do that together. We will do that together. And we will make sure those homes actually go to working and middle class Americans, not just investors. Because, some corporate landlords, some of them buy dozens, if not hundreds of houses and apartments. Then they turn them around and rent them out at extremely high prices. And
it's called business. What the fuck? You don't have to go live there if you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, you don't have to go live there, right? And if you want to live there, go do something with your life so you can earn enough to be able to go live there. It's nobody's responsibility to make sure that you have that you have a lavish lifestyle. That's your responsibility. Go get it and live that way if that's how you want to live. It's called business, and there's no way they can stop that. There's no way they can stop that. I guarantee you there's no way they can stop that.
It can make it impossible then for regular people to be able to buy or even rent a home. Some corporate landlords collude with each other to set artificially high rental prices, often using algorithms in price-fixing software to do it. It's anti-competitive and it drives up costs. I will fight for a law that cracks down on these practices. We also know that as the price of housing has gone up, the size of down payments have gone up as well. Even if aspiring homeowners save for years, it often still is not enough. So in addition, while we work on the housing shortage, my administration will provide first-time home buyers with $25,000 to help with the down payment on a new home.
Okay, so let me get this straight. They're going to give everybody who wants a house, I guess, if you just go to the government and say, oh, I want a house, they'll give you $25,000 to help with your down payment. Number one, you got to have good credit. The bank, whatever bank you're going to, all right, let's say the government fronts the $25K. How much you think the house is going to cost that needs a $25,000 down payment, right? They want you to have a job that makes enough money for you to afford this house, not just because the government is putting up $25K. So the majority of people are going to be disqualified from this. Whatever it is she's talking about, the majority of people are going to be disqualified from this. So who are the only people who are going to qualify for this? Are people who already have good jobs, people who already have good credit. So I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. Right? So they're not fixing anything. That's number one. Number two, where is this $25,000 going to come from? It's going to come from us. It's going to come from rich people. It's going to come from minimum wage people. It's going to come from people who are barely making it. That's where that tax money is going to come from. So that $25K is coming from people, everybody, but it's coming from people who are not going to be able to afford that house that you're giving the $25,000 down payment to. So everybody who's paying taxes, right, is what's going to pay for this down payment for the people who can get it. That's people with good jobs, who's making good money and have good credit. The majority of America is not that. That's number two. Number three, again, the market and the buyers dictate these type of things. Let's say a company knows that, oh, the government's going to front $25K for the down payment. If you don't fix the housing problem, if you don't fix inflation and all these other things that's causing these things to be so high, all they're going to do is slap another $25K to the house that you're trying to buy. So then again, it balances itself out. And I'll say they do the same thing with the food industry where they're trying to fix the prices. Let's say they try to do that with the housing market too, right? So now these houses that you get with these extra big rooms, extra big restrooms, nice kitchen, nice tiles on the floor, chandelier lights, you'll notice that every house is going to start looking the same because companies are going to start getting cheap with the type of stuff that they put in these houses. The quality of these houses is going to go down. That's number 4. And then number 5, the biggest, right? You can't just give somebody a $25,000 down payment to get a house. Are they going to be able to maintain it? Are they going to be able to keep paying the mortgage for this house? So let's say you force these low income people into these houses with all these governments programs and stuff, right? Now they can't afford this house. They can't afford these mortgage payment every month because the government's not going to keep paying your house mortgage. They might pay for a couple of months. They get you that down payment, they pay for a couple of months, you good, right? And then after that, you start falling back on this mortgage payment. You get evicted. The house goes back on the market. Somebody who can afford it, buy it, fix it up, put it back on the market for a higher price. The cycle just continues. That's not how you fix that problem. You got to fix it from the root. And before we even get there, I think that was not number 2 or number 1. Those people that she's talking about, that she want to get these houses, they probably won't even qualify for it. Because the banks are not going to loan them the money. I don't care how much money the government say they're putting out for the down payment. If you ain't got no credit, if you ain't got a good job, if you ain't got no history, good renter histories, banks ain't loaning you this money. So these people just be fucking talking, bro. And that's the shit that be pissing me off. Like, you can't be that stupid. But yet, all the people that are going to vote for her are that stupid. Like, the shit that she be saying doesn't make no sense. The whole Democratic Party, the shit they be saying don't make no sense. They just be saying shit. So all these things I just listed are obstacles that are going to stop people from even getting that $25,000 down payment. To even walk through the door and get qualified. That's going to be the main problem. So none of that's going to work. It sounds good. But the only people who are going to be able to afford it are the people that they don't want to take advantage of it. Or people who already have money, people who already have good credit, people who already have good renter histories, people who have good jobs. And if you do find a way to get these people in there with these low incomes and they lose the house, guess who's going to get the house? The people who are trying to stop from getting the house. That's these entrepreneurs, these people with money, these corporates, these companies, these, and they're just going to be waiting for it to happen because it's going to happen. History says it is. And common sense says it is.
We can do this. We can do this.
You can do this. You can do whatever you want to do. Now the question is, how are you going to do it, and is it going to work?
Experience the pride of home ownership and the financial
Fuck
security
the pride.
that it
Can I
represents
afford it?
and brings.
Can I upkeep it?
So that's my plan. But here's what Donald Trump would do. If his Project 2025 agenda is put into effect,
he likes some
it
things
will
in it, and there's
add
something
around
that he don't like.
$1,200 a year to the typical American.
Jesus Christ. She sounds so fucking annoying. Alright, listen, people. There's still all the smart people out there who are voting for Kamala Harris. Communist Harris. Because that's all